Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Only in the forest can you see this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. And you might just see this. Visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Do you want to promote your business? Do you want to get yourself noticed? Well then, why not sponsor us? There are lots of different options to choose from commercial spots and on-air shout-outs to interviews and even putting your logo on our website. Don't miss these great opportunities to get noticed. Check out our sponsorship packages on our Facebook page or on our website, beexposedradio.com.
Hi, I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title. I guess I'm pretty visual. If a book's really impressing me and the writing is really good, I will peek and see what the last paragraph is. Because the endings of books should rock you. I am a book person, and if you're a book person too, read to a child and spark a lifetime of ambition. Join me at bookpeopleunite.org because reading is fundamental. A public service announcement brought to you by Reading is Fundamental, Library of Congress, and the Ad Council.
Only in the forest can you see this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. And you might just see this. Visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Whoa.
The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing!
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Whoa.
The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing!
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
So, Jacqueline.
Yes, Mom?
I wanted to talk to you about something and... Oh, wait. Hold on. I just got a text. Oh, there's another one. Wow. Busy me. So, anyway...
Oh, wait, Mom. I just got a message. My friends keep commenting on my comment. Oh, there's another one. So many comments on my comment.
Oh, I can't wait to watch TV tonight. Playoffs!
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. I'm your host. I'm in a building with... I'm glad we don't have secret cameras in here. But we have Lady Brion, we have Chin-Yer Wright, and joining us is Kenneth Morrison. Mr. Kenneth, say something. The organizer of Do More Baltimore. Did I say it right?
Well,
Kenneth something.
Nova named me Kenneth Say Something.
Okay.
So I sometimes secretly go by that.
That's like your pseudonym? Or?
When I want to feel, fancy, I go by Kenneth Say Something.
So what is fancy? Is that?
It's when I wear like a button up with my blazer.
Oh, okay. Church.
When?
Yeah, like
church. Easter Sunday. Okay.
Like Easter Sunday. I go to Brion's church on Easter Sunday. They get free.
He calls my church the Underground Railroad.
It is.
Oh no.
He said it's a stop on the Underground Railroad. It's not really
You have to plug your church at this moment.
That sounds
No, I will not.
He said plug your church like it's a club.
Like I'm promoting an event or something.
I feel sorry.
Come on, production
like
crew,
your congregation.
curate your
That's
church.
not how church works.
I feel like your congregation is listening right now and disappointed. You give opportunity. You're supposed to say on the first
You can
Sunday.
say you can say the name of your church.
You're supposed to say the morning service is at 10 a.m.
I'm not doing this.
She don't
love the Lord. She don't love the Lord.
God. You don't love God? What's wrong with you? Okay.
She's not on the outreach community. That's not what she does.
With Pastor, as you was going to say, like, yes, Sunday at 10 a.m. with Pastor such and such, as you're supposed to say.
Thank you. From the non-church goer.
Message her on Facebook if you would like to get information on this
message
church.
her if you want to go to church.
I'm going to hold you down, church members. I'm going to hold you down.
How hilarious.
I know your pastor's disappointed.
No, he's not.
This has been the summer of 2017, minus Kenneth from time to time. But this is overall what it has been like working with these individuals. So tell us a little bit about the Maya Baraka, how it started, Writing Institute, how it started, and your input or your leg in that race.
Okay, so actually, with Dumo Baltimore, we've been working and organizing art summer leadership development programs for a while. We've piloted a few others. We were looking for a strategy to be able to introduce young people to art, again, as a tool for art, for activism. And so we tried partnering with other organizations for a while with videography and other forms of art. But at some point, we kind of decided to focus on what we do best, which is spoken word and hip-hop. So that's what we kind of narrowed our focus on. And so for the past 3 years, we've been organizing a summer program that allows young people to have access to this tool and access to honestly some of the best spoken word artists in the country as teachers and as instructors. So that they also can be able to recognize how to use art as a tool to get engaged in that community.
So so the Maya Baraka program, you added acting this year. How far do you see it going in terms of what else will you want to add down the line, or what other?
Well, I'm thinking about teaching comedy. That might be something we can.
We have some comedians or something.
So the purpose of do more. Though we use art, we focus on art that is both that starts off on page and end up on stage. So it has to have a writing component. So theater, again, just writing, spoken word, hip hop. So we're focused on writing, right? So it's because what's really about is young people having their stories on stage, and so there's other art forms that we can branch off into, but not many more than we already have touched.
Maybe songwriting.
Maybe some song was one. I was joking about comedy, but maybe who knows with the what happened in the future.
Just a new teacher, different.
Who would the teacher be?
Well, right now I can teach everything but the songwriting. But who knows? By the time we add that component, I might have mastered that skill too. Yeah, I hip, I hop.
All these new, undiscovered talent.
No,
you think you know a person?
Keep it down there. So how long have you been? Well, how long has Do More been around?
So Do More just celebrated 5 years in July.
Cool.
So we just we're 5 years old now.
So what gave you the idea to? Because you could have did this with the adults that you work with, but what gave you the idea to branch off to children?
Well, no, actually the complete opposite. This branched, off to adults. My background is youth development, so I've been running youth programs and working to oversee development of citywide youth strategies, etc. for about 10 years. So again, youth development is where my field of interest. And so I just happened to recognize spoken word in the adult poetry scene as almost like an untapped talent to help do the work of youth development. So again, while I'm doing the work of youth development, I'm seeing all this amazing artists and talent in the city, and they're not necessarily engaged with young people. And so I intentionally wanted to reach out to this community and say, let's start mentoring and supporting and teaching young people.
So we're going to get back on Maya Baraka, but I have, like, the adult slam team, well, a couple of the members here.
The most important ones.
I think that might be factual.
Come in. Grim is joining us also, Mr. Grim.
Grim just joined us too.
Of course, Grim.
Hey, Grim.
But we have the world-renowned, internationally, undisputed champions of slamming here with his lady Brion and Kenneth, and Grim just walked in the building.
That was nice.
It was a little accent. So tell us about what's coming up, because you all have another trip coming up, another competition
we do
coming up.
On our way to Denver, Colorado for the National Poetry Slam this year. It is going to be, major cities from all around the nation competing, all converging in Denver, Colorado. We are the reigning champions, so we're going to defend our title. So quick plug, shamelessly of course, if you want to donate to us getting to Colorado, we still have a live GoFundMe. You can look up Baltimore Slam Teams with an S. Again, that's Baltimore Slam Teams with an S. And you can donate anything, $5, $10, $15, $20, $100 if you balling,
Okay.
Helping us to continue to represent our city and defend our title.
So how does it feel winning all these awards and getting all this acclaim? Like, how did that happen? When did that start happening for the group?
For me, it's still unreal. We're very brand new on the scene, on the national and international scene, and so I know for myself, only participating in national competitions for 2 years to be the national champions feels surreal. And then part of it, it's like, I expect and I enjoy competition and building community, and so I wasn't expecting this to happen for another 3 or 4 years maybe, and so for it to happen so soon, it's awesome, but at the same time, it's unexpected.
So you all just came back from the country.
A regional slam.
Regional slam
in Louisville, Kentucky. Yeah, Louisville, Kentucky. I don't know what I was about to say. Called Southern Fried.
Southern Fried. I wanted to say I was hungry. Country
sort of
fried.
Regional.
I was hungry. Let's go ahead.
Regional competition. That's the southeast region of the nation, and even though they don't include Baltimore, they say we're not Southern, so we have to fight for that like every year. But so we won Southern Fried, and that was awesome as well. And so it was interesting because you could tell that people are sort of tracking our moves because somebody reached out or they were, I think it was like a blog post or something like that, and they were like, yo, it's so interesting because Baltimore, they won nationals last year and then they won Southern Fried and they didn't repeat any of the poems. So I didn't know people was even checking for us like that to know that we didn't.
But when you win and people, they trying to pick you apart and see what your method is.
Yeah, that's absolutely happening, and it's interesting. It's interesting, and I'm enjoying the ride so far. We're about to go to nationals in less than 2 weeks, and I'm looking forward to seeing what people throw up against us. I'm looking forward to seeing what again, people we're competing with, I'm huge fans of.
Right.
So like I'm fanguying over so many of the poets that we're competing against, and it just feels great for them to see us as a peer. I think I wanted that more than anything, to be recognized as a great poet. I don't even have to win, just be recognized. Winning is just ice cream cake.
Cake. Mr. Graham, how you doing, sir?
I'm breathing.
You well rested?
Nah.
So tell me, because you just joined the adult slam team. You coming from the youth slam team, right?
Yeah.
So what's the difference for you?
To me personally, it wasn't any difference. It was a more extreme workload. That was it.
Were you prepared for that?
Yeah.
Because you've been setting fires, people learning your name and figuring you out. So how does it feel being like the star of the city? One of the stars of the city now.
It's really strange because like you go outside and you go to anywhere and it's like, oh my God, Grim. And then like it's also like, who's you?
Oh.
so So it's like it's back and forth, especially because like I enjoy like the poetry scene is growing and that I can go places and people be like, yo, I was just watching your videos last night, and I'm like, oh, word, and it's like it's dope, being like semi-celebrity status.
Okay, say celebrity, get it. So what? So the work ethic. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I also think that it's interesting. You asked what was like the transition from youth to adult team. What was interesting about Grimm is he did them simultaneously. So he was on the youth team and the adult team, right? Like
at
in
the
same
time.
Year. Yeah.
Wow.
So he was
and won both.
And so when the youth team became champion and the champions and the adult teams became champions, he was on both those teams that year.
Is it an age thing that determines?
It's only 1 year that you can do that. It's at age 19.
Okay.
Because you're old enough to be on the adult team and still at the cap young enough to be on the youth team. So it's a very slim window.
Right.
And he was the first to ever do that.
Yeah,
so
he's the only
made
person
history.
to ever do it.
Did he get flack for that? Like, or he was like on the adult team, like he was on the youth team that they
it just added to his celebrity. People just really honored him. In fact, I was at a festival, the youth festival that just passed, and there's a young person from one of the teams, I think from Boston, and the young person is on the youth team and the adult team, and everyone's like, I want to be like Grimm, like I want to be able to do what Grimm Jackson did. And so when young people are trying to join both teams and trying to figure out how to be like him,
because that's like 3 to 4 poems per competition.
Well, it depends. It all depends the dynamic of the team. But what it does mean is that basically you don't get any sleep and you work really, really hard for an entire summer or more than a summer, honestly, because you have to be equally prepared for both teams, and the competitions are typically a couple of weeks apart.
What is sleep?
Oh, wow. So was it that hard for you, or was that
it was definitely, like, when I came on the team, I definitely felt as though that I was an underdog, and I have to get up to everybody else's potential. And it's times that I still feel like that, because it's not like these people make me feel inferior. It's like, nah, these people make me want to work harder, because the only reason I was able to even get on the adult team and hold my own and be able to be on the youth team and everything else is because of them, because of the training and everything else that they put into me. So you were in
their program?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, so...
LTAB, right?
He was in my Baraka. Oh, okay. He was in LTAB. He was in all our youth development programs.
Wow.
So, yeah, like, I've kind of grown and they helped me grow. And every time I see them do, like, a doper piece, it just makes me want to work that much harder, because, like... I'm like, everybody's looking at me. I'm like, look at all these great people on my team. It's like, what do you mean?
Right. So you and what's the other young lady? Both of you are now on the Mecca. Is on the adult team. So y'all kind of bringing up, not so much bringing up the rear, but you have more work to do, because they didn't start with the youth team. They actually started over with the adult team. So that gives you a leg up on them almost, not to give you more fuel to go against them. But
oh no, like I want all the fuel because they make me greater.
Yeah. So that's the argument from now on. You haven't been where I've been.
Well, part of the way that we do youth development is that all the adult poets in that's involved in the organization adopt and mentor young poets, and so it's a very discussed topic where the young people are all waiting for the day when they could take the title from us. Right. So all of our mentees are trying to beat us.
So you think you ready? So
his mentor is Slangston, so he has to figure out how to take Slangston out.
He said, no.
You need some years.
I mean, the thing is, I believe my strength is, like, as far as a poet, is always growing, but like no matter how great I get, I'll always have like so much more room to like have to grow, because there's like so much that came before me. We always talk all the time about how we're standing on like the shoulders of giants, and like the only reason again I'm able to be here is because like people like Kenneth, people like Brion, people like Slangston, who are able to instill that within us.
So for me, I got to watch a lot of the youth slam team prepare for various things this summer. So tell me the work ethic that goes into it, because I know I go into a bubble and I'm trying to learn lines, but you all are performing.
Yeah, it's a collective.
Wouldn't
thing for
sleep.
us. It's very collective because the difference between indie slams, individual slams, and team slams is that team aspect. So you don't get to just go in a bubble and write for yourself, right? Especially not for a team like Baltimore. Like we, especially in past years, have been very much so reliant on great group pieces, which means there's a lot of work that goes into, sitting in a room and practicing poems, practicing choreography, getting together as a team and as on point as possible. So it's a lot of hours that go into you perfecting that craft. And I think it's good for me because it's motivating, right? You're around, like Grim said, the other superstars on your team, and you're working together to create sort of this collaborative, amazing masterpiece. And so that's a lot of the work. I remember when Lamar Hill was our coach, we also was like working out during practice, which was a whole thing. And it really made you like hungry because when you was on the stage, I'm like, if I can do this poem while doing the ropes, it ain't nothing when it's just a microphone in front of me, right? So we have very interesting ways of,
that was
very interesting ways
of
preparing. So yeah.
You did this too, Kenneth?
Some of it. I'm a little. It ain't no shade in that question. It's an understanding that people need to people need to recognize. Yeah, people need to recognize my boss when I walk on the door, and that's just what was happening. And so it was like, did that boss just do that stuff too? Well, the boss did acquiesce sometimes, just to try to be, for team spirit. For morale. Had to do it. There's a few times when like he was like, get down, do some push-ups, and I mean I did get down, but I didn't really push up. When he wasn't looking, I pretended I was pushing up, and then I'd be like, all right, 20. And he'd be like, no, that kind of thing. But that, I did do the ropes. The ropes looked interesting. They were really heavy.
They looked interesting.
They were really heavy. I enjoyed that process.
So where do you see do more in terms of the whole group, all the different aspects? Where do you see the whole conglomerate moving in the next couple years?
Well, I said the festival. The movement is
a festival.
I mean, annual festival for sure. I definitely want to figure out a way to kind of do a more intentional bridge between the youth scene that's being established and the adult scene. There's still a huge disconnect. Baltimore has almost 20 open mics that happen, and 18 of them are very much disconnected from this movement. I want to be able to see how I can do more, help connect this adult scene, the youth scene. We're only in about 20 schools in Baltimore City. I believe we should be in every middle school and high school that exists in Baltimore. So about developing those programs. If your school can have a basketball team, a football team, I feel like absolutely should have art in this capacity. So that's in my mind. It's just about doing what we already do, but bringing more people into the fold.
I mean, the connecting part for me, I liked Art Rising, the thing that you do every month, because that I remember the first one. I don't know if that was the first one you did, where you brought like all the different open mics together and they became the
very
judges.
Intentional. Yeah.
For me, I didn't know about some of them, and I knew some of them didn't know about the acting one, but that really made sense. Because we all are doing them and everybody's overlapping, so you made time to be there for that one. So it really connected everybody. So I think that's a great way of keeping them connected.
Sure.
Is there anything that you want to see different happen in Baltimore, in that arts community, specifically in the spoken word poetry community?
Selfishly, it's about development. I would love to see more opportunities for people who are interested and passionate about writing to actually develop their writing. Spoken word is not something you can go to school for, right? So often it's something that happens.
Well, you can come to the Maya Baraka Writing Institute.
Yeah, if you're a young person.
Right.
But the truth is, people don't just enter poetry and spoken word at 14 or at 12. I would love for everybody at 10 years old to be introduced and go through 10 years of development, and then hit all the open mics. But people's experiences bring them to a mic. People have stories. People have things to get off their chest. People have interests. And so, but they don't also have opportunities to develop. Not just our young people, but the adults as well. So I'm looking for opportunities. I mean, so many things. If I had a magic wand, or if I had this extra, 20 hours in a day, that I would probably work towards building in Baltimore. So it's a secretly a call for others who are organizers and organizational developers to join the movement to figure out how to continue to build. But we definitely need more development. Baltimore is being recognized as a mecca, if you will, for spoken word. Just because all of the talent that is now hitting national and international stages. But that is, a handful of people who are actually doing the work to develop that craft. And that doesn't really represent the whole scene. And I want to create opportunities for others who are interested to also develop that craft.
I would say for me specifically, coming from a writing aspect to theater really broadened my teaching ability, because I'd never thought about singling in on just the writing experience, because we share a lot, but it's normally through emotion and how you connect to the character that has already been written for you. But coming up with writing, that really changed, because I think we just did the inaugural poem by Maya. That was the only thing that we did that was written already, but that's just to teach them about a chorus, teach them about a specific acting thing. But the writing aspect made so much more sense to me as an actor, because if it's your emotion, it should be your words too. So it gave them one, it helped them to memorize things much faster, but it also gave them sense of like, this is mine, like I own this, and it's my story. But they were able to share it with people, and it made them more comfortable, opposed to just playing somebody that was a rape victim. They talked about it in their own pieces, or specific things. They were able to write about it, and it felt safer to them than me just giving them words and them talking about something that they did not go through. So I think that really added to it. So I think adults probably could benefit from that. I know plenty of adults that write that may not be good writers that could probably benefit from that same type of programming. But Chin-Yer, being an organizer of arts, is there anything you want to see happen differently in the city, or what do you like that's going on right now?
I like that a lot of people are switching to the curator role, as opposed to I don't want to say only arts, like arts is something to say only, but I think it's great to take a responsibility as an artist to also help other people develop arts and give people a space to develop arts. I just like to see people coming together more often. And the number one thing I want to see, as I mentioned earlier, is an adult program that we spoke about that I really want to see happen, like some kind of college, whether we partner up with a college. Like there's no official black MFA program for writing. I want us to, that's what I want to see.
Okay. Do you have a plan, or do you have a way that we could do that? Because that takes more than just funding. It really takes the idea of it being strong.
I think I have the people in place between Kenneth, Brion, Langston, Jacob, Grimm, and tons of other amazing writers and organizers. I think it can definitely happen. We just have to sit down and commit to it.
And what's interesting is there are universities, particularly in Maryland, who are open to this. There are universities, particularly in Maryland, who are open to this idea. And so it is things that are already in the works, but of course it takes a lot of sort of determination and follow through to actually bring those things into fruition. So
but a lot of the elements are already there. They're already writing MFAs, but not specifically for poetry and hip hop and so on and so forth.
There are no black writing MFAs in Baltimore as of right now.
And that's really important too, especially being in a black city, is that there is a difference between us being for the aesthetics and the cultural backgrounds of the writing and what is good writing versus what's not good writing. When you have a very Eurocentric standard of writing, then there's different poetic devices, different literary devices that's leaned on for European standards that's different from, I think, your average African American writer, and so especially coming from an African American black city, and so like I have to. A lot of my mentees who go into MFA programs, one of the main questions they ask me is how do they keep their aesthetic, because if their writing aesthetic will absolutely change going to a traditional MFA program.
Even at a HBCU, you still lose
it's still
a
a
lot
very
of
Eurocentric standards. And so I have to literally pull out two types of writing, right? And so I pull out a Robert Frost poem, and I'll pull out
Robert Frost.
And and I'll pull out. I'll pull out a. Right, I'm so I'll pull out a Robert Frost poem. I'll pull out a Maya Angelou poem, and I will help them like really look at the poetic devices that's used. Right. So you'll have your traditional MFAs. They really push imagery. Like don't tell me, just show me. Is like a big thing and very Eurocentric and Eurocentric writing, and then I'm like, tell me where that like look at Maya Angelou. She told the hell out your ass. It is okay, right? And it's like this is still great writing. And not saying that one was better than the other. I think they both are great writers, but it's just from a different aesthetic. And This America and most MFA programs will tell you one aesthetic is better than the other.
Absolutely.
And that's the problem.
And there's also sort of a focus, or not necessarily a focus, but a what I want to say. I think that they look down upon sort of the oral tradition that is connected to poetry that is not the same in communities of color, particularly the Black community, right? Like there is a praise for the oral tradition, and because that's what we come from as a people, and I think that also translate differently on page. If you're coming from an oral tradition, like the way that you would navigate a page is just tremendously different, and it takes a lot to kind of explain those nuanced differences in Eurocentric writing communities and
and learning the origins of that. Like we weren't allowed to write. We didn't know how to write. The origins of it. So it in the beginning of it, that's
beyond that, even beyond that, culturally, right? In Africa, classical Africa, that was just the way in which we communicated. It wasn't by force or lack of understanding. It was that's who we were as a people. That's who we are as a people, right? And so it took a long time for societies to develop written language, but that doesn't mean communication wasn't happening. It doesn't mean stories weren't being passed down, right? The nature of the griot was they held the histories of their people, right, before written traditions existed, and they never missed a beat. Like the stories of their people were always passed down the same way. It was an art form, right? And through that was birthed like kind of the idea of spoken word poetry. And so it's important, like you said, to know those roots and understand how we are connected to those roots and how that then reflects in our own writing and the way in which we understand going about writing. So
they also look down on the hip hop aesthetic as well, and it's sad to see some very talented students go into programs that are Eurocentric and have people in the workshops or the teachers say, "That's not good. That's not real." Right?
Yeah. It really because preparing for this program that the Baraka Writing Institute, I read a book on Black acting styles. And it's really, we know about Stanislavski and Czech and all of those European aspects of becoming an actor, preparing to be an actor. And this young lady compiled all of these Black methods of acting, and they actually have a name. So this summer we did the Hendrix method. My students kept saying, "We need a script, Mr. Nate. We need a script." And that's not, the whole Hendrix method is doing theater without a script. You can write down bullet points and writing prompts, but the script itself is up here, and you just repetition helps you to get into your system. But I understand that to be so. Would you all be open to doing that for writing spoken word poetry, like writing that anthology of?
Well, it's funny that we're actually working on it right now. So one of the goals is to figure out how to institutionalize and professionalize the field of spoken word. And so part of that is developing more text, right, that can be used to kind of help share our pedagogy on a larger platform.
So if that's not your thing, you can teach someone.
Well, yeah, it's our thing, and we're going to teach. We're going to do both because we can't be everywhere, right? We can teach it, but we have to teach teachers how to teach it as well. And so myself, Slangston, and Lady Brion, we're writing a textbook that will allow us to do professional development for teachers all around the country. And so we're really excited about it. Like the framework is there. We're really clear. I was speaking with some professional poets and coaches from another country, another state, just this past competition, and they don't have a pedagogy for teaching spoken word. They just have people write and they just tell students if it's good or not, right? They don't actually have a method for how to teach spoken word.
So give me because all of you all are at least master's degrees or went to college and you're spoken word artists. Tell me the difference between the European, not all of us?
So yeah, so I didn't go to college.
Well, you sound like you did, so we gonna go with that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. He a professor now.
I am a professor.
Right,
I am a professor.
But at the same time, tell us the difference between the European standard of, say, spoken word versus the black cultural experience when it comes to spoken word.
So
what are those
standard in the European community? I don't know what that means.
Well, I mean, if they grading it, that mean they should have a standard for it. If
well,
they
no one's grading spoken word.
Spoken word.
So
I think that's the thing. I think that's a big difference for us in and of itself. Like and maybe I'll speak for myself. Coming into this, it was through the vein of spoken word, right? I wasn't literary, right? I wasn't. I wasn't literary. I wasn't a page poet at all, and I didn't even read as much poetry. Like, I came into it like listening to poetry. I remember Def Poetry Jam was one of my favorite shows, and I remember even when I expanded beyond that, I would like to listen to other poets read renditions of their poems rather than, like, for instance, the Mary Baraka. Like, I would like to listen to it more than I would read it, right? So that was my...
Because their words are active. You can't just read that and
right?
get
It's an experience, right? It is part theatrical. It is, right, auditory. It is a visual experience. It is a felt emotion. And there are all these different things. And so... that's why it was really interesting when you even phrased it that way, because spoken word is outside of the literary canon for, Eurocentric sort of learning communities.
So it's about making it part of mainstream?
It is about creating a space where spoken word artists and the black sort of literary tradition can exist and be recognized in that space. It's sort of like what Toni Morrison talks about as, a African American writer, right? You don't have any classics that are black authors, like not ones that's like we absolutely have to teach this. Everybody reads this book. There are very few classics, if you will.
That's
the classics are reserved for this sort of European canon, and a lot of her work was creating a space and having the kind of dialogue to critique that reality.
We go through that in theater too, because like August Wilson became our Shakespeare, but because August Wilson is in the noun, considered in the noun, and Shakespeare was like so far gone, he's still not considered a classic in the umbrella of what is classical theater. But the work speaks for itself. Like, one was definitely inspired by the other.
Absolutely.
But how do we then get that to that level where it's like hip hop? So now hip hop is starting to be something that's studied and taken apart. How do we get
there are
over to that level?
I think there are over 22 different universities where you can actually either take courses or major in hip hop.
And what's unfortunate is most of them are PWIs.
I think all of them are. I don't know any HBCUs.
It's disgusting to me, if I can be frank, because you're talking about an art form that is absolutely ours, and our universities do not embrace teaching it.
Yeah, and I think too often as people of color in general, but emphasis as being black people, is that we are told that who we are and our art and everything about us is inferior, and too many of us embrace that. So therefore, we won't even bring up something like hip hop, like we don't have as a course in our universities, because we believe that it's us, right? It was not good enough. We're preparing our students to exist in white America, whereas the white institutions are preparing students to exist in America, right? And that's a big difference. So we don't provide courses and opportunities for black people to be affirmed in their blackness as part of the pedagogy of the institution, and that's disappointing, right? I don't blame the universities. I get it. I was raised up in this country. I know exactly what it feels like to try to figure out how to make it as a black person in a white country, but. It is disappointing that we don't have the same opportunities to embrace our own culture as white folks have to embrace our culture. And it was another thing I would say really quickly is that a friend of mine did this just to kind of see if it was true or not. They went to Johns Hopkins University and they went to Morgan State University and they went to the libraries to look at the African American sections to see which one had the biggest section. And Johns Hopkins had a bigger selection of black literature in their libraries than HBCU. Which is a sign of they'll study us before we study us.
Absolutely, and I'm thinking about Howard University, my alma mater. you know, the Spingard Library, which is one of the most, you know, at one point expansive sort of libraries for our people. And the last thing I heard before I graduated is that it was being bought out and taken from Howard University, and to be in some, you know, large white collection. No. I'm talking about the collection. I'm talking about the collection itself. So we have like the collection of books that were donated to the Spingard Library, from what I heard, is being bought out and, you know, added to a larger white collection. So it is, there's a trend.
Sad. Even if that's a decision on the table, that's sad. So we're going to take a quick break from all of this for a second and come right back. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BigExposedRadio.com. Don't go anywhere.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin' Street? Girlin' Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title. I guess I'm pretty visual. If a book's really impressing me and the writing is really good, I will peek and see what the last paragraph is, because the endings of books should rock you. I am a book person, and if you're a book person too, read to a child and spark a lifetime of ambition. Join me at bookpeopleunite.org, because reading is fundamental. A public service announcement brought to you by Reading is Fundamental, Library of Congress, and the Ad Council. Hi, I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title. I guess I'm pretty visual. If a book's really impressing me and the writing is really good, I will peek and see what the last paragraph is, because the endings of books should rock you. I am a book person, and if you're a book person too, read to a child and spark a lifetime of ambition. Join me at bookpeopleunite.org, because reading is fundamental. A public service announcement brought to you by Reading is Fundamental, Library of Congress, and the Ad Council.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin' Street? Girlin' Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You use Tearless Baby Shampoo because it's gentle on your baby's eyes. You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You always test the bath water to make sure it's not too hot. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You make sure she wears a helmet when she rides her bicycle. You put on his sunscreen, even when he's embarrassed his friends will see. You do so much to keep your child.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
A national commercial.
Be back. Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show, here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. I have Do More in the building.
Do More.
We missing Mecca and Jacob, Black Chakra, and Slangston.
I now go by Lady Chin-Yer.
Lady Chin-Yer.
It's like
all my ladies go by.
She just gonna steal it. She just gonna take it. That's Chin-Yer. Chin-Yer has a. I thought Chin-Yer used to be really serious until this summer program. I thought she was really serious and really stern. But she's a crack up. She's a real. She's a cut up.
Call her something else.
No, I was. Crack came out, but cut up. I was trying to say cut up. She's a real cut up. But I want to hear any last. First of all, how can we find all of you? How can we send checks to Do More? How can we donate?
Let me say this one more time. We on our way to Denver, Colorado, to represent Baltimore City as the current reigning national poetry champions. So we are defending our title for Baltimore, representing the hometown. So if you want to send us a few dollars to get us there, we would greatly appreciate it. You can go on GoFundMe. And look up Baltimore Slam Teams with an S. Again, that's Baltimore Slam Teams with an S on GoFundMe, and donate whatever you can. We would greatly appreciate it.
If I can add, it's not just a competition too. Like a couple of years ago, Baltimore did not have a voice in this international platform, and so for in 2 years for Baltimore to go from not having a voice at all to now being one of the leading voices in the country. As far as spoken word is concerned, is really powerful and important. So it's really important that we continue to have a voice. Absolutely. So anything you can do to support us and make sure we get there, please do. It's really difficult and expensive. But as a community, I know we can do it. Absolutely. Last year we would not have been there if it wasn't for the community. So we really appreciate everybody who already made any donations, either to the youth team or the adult team. I promise you, it makes all the difference in the world. And I wish you could have been there to see us, because we absolutely make sure that we hold it down for Baltimore.
And I wanted to say, people are inspired.
Can you do fuck Robert for?
I wanted to say quickly that we have a page on Facebook, Maya Baraka Writers Institute, and also Do More Baltimore page. So please find it on Facebook and like us. And we are looking for a youth member for the board of directors. And we're always looking for people to be volunteers at our festivals and other events that we do. So please reach out and see how you can help us at Do More Baltimore.
Remember, Do More is spelled DEWMORE.
So real quick, as far as recruiting is concerned, if they want their young person to be a part of the
right now there are 3 different methods for how you enter our programming. One is that if you don't have a spoken word program at your school, please reach out to us. We want to be in your school. So again, we're about 20 schools across Baltimore, so it's a good chance we may be at one of your child's school. But in case we're not, we're more than interested in starting one there. And if we're all there, then just have your student, have your child connect with us. Also, starting January, we will be having the Baltimore City Youth Poetry Team competition. If you're interested in joining our Brave New Voices team and traveling with our young people around the country, that's a great opportunity. And of course, if you go to YouthWorks, right? So every summer we hire through YouthWorks about 60 young people to participate in our Maya Baraka Writing Institute. So if you know you have a young person that's interested in doing this kind of work, they can get paid to do it every summer. So when they apply for YouthWorks, write us down, connect with us. You're interested in Do More, then email us, Facebook us, or whatever you choose, so that your child can participate in the summer program. So those are 3 different programs, how you enter us: the national traveling team, our school-based program, and then we also have the summer program.
Oh, and one last thing. If anyone's interested in competing on the adult slam team, we're going to be starting a new season through Slamageddon's partnership with Art Rising, starting in September. So keep posted with that between me and Kenneth.
So is that the same process for the youth slam?
No, it's a little the same thing. You slam your way through it, but the difference is you have to slam all year, right? Okay. So you have to slam through the season to make it to semis, and then you go from semis, then you make it to finals, and then the top 5 will be on the team. Okay. So yeah, we'll be slamming every month from now until April before we make the final decisions on who's gonna be on the team. But also, if you need somebody for stand-up, Kenneth something on Instagram and on Facebook. Kenneth something.
Just a stand up, no comedy. Just.
I just stand up, get out your way, or whatever you need me to do. And so, see, he brings his own sound. Do you hear the laughter? I was looking for the engineer, but he was on Instagram.
He didn't get your joke.
No, he was on Instagram. But I gave the eye contact and everything. He had a perfect opportunity to go ahead and prove himself. But it's okay.
I will lie. I shall lie.
But yes, Kenneth something on all social media.
And I'm Lady Brion. Brion spelled Brion. Lady Brion on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So, holla at your girl.
Lady Chin-Yer at site. Chin-Yer, CHIN-YER, Wright, WRIGHT. Friend me up on Facebook.
Baltimore Scene Crown Awards.
The BaltimoreScene.com, Baltimore Crown Awards, Word Award, Poetry Slam, Rap God. I do a bunch of events, so please connect with me.
Art Rising, tell us the time for that again.
It's the first
Thursday of every month. It won't be one in August. Right now we're preparing for the new season, so it starts September.
Okay.
So we're taking a break in August, but September, first Thursday of every month. You can find it. You can actually follow Art Rising on Instagram at Art Rising, and you get all updates there.
So that's September the 7th for the next Art Rising.
You better know the calendar.
Look
at you. Get it. Bye.
And we have Lady Grim Jackson. And like all the ladies are in
Grim Jackson.
Y'all keep playing with me. Keep playing with me.
Shots. How they just gonna steal your whole identity?
Exactly.
Like
Everybody
that?
want a little piece of the swag. That's
You need a whole team to set it on. You can't do it by yourself.
You are
everyone's trying.
I'm just going. You know, I'm just gonna give them a day. I'm just gonna give them a day. So the last Saturday of every month, we just gonna make that.
You need
more
to
than-
absolutely holler at your ladies. We will hold it down for you.
I cannot. So I asked Grim to lead us out with a prayer. It's like I'm joking. A poem.
A prayer.
a poem.
I was like, can we bring it full circle? Y'all still making shots.
I just had to just bring it around.
But yeah, you can find me on all social media at the Grim Jackson No, that's my email. At the Grim Jackson. That's TheGrimJackson. But yeah.
About to hear it.
Let this be my happy poem. Let this be the rose that grew from the base of the hanging tree. See, this is not a slam. This is not an open mic night. This is a therapy session. And see here, these therapy sessions, they ain't for you. They're for me. They're for us. They're for the kids that paint Picassos into their arms and then call their scars art. The youth that speak into microphones instead of wrapping their throat with the cord. The artist that picks up the epistolary prayers and paints their beautiful brains onto notebooks and canvases. See, this is not depression. This is a suicide note that my mentor edited, which means nothing except that I am alive. I am still breathing, yet there is still so much more work to be done here. This is a reminder. There is no painting without pain, no rainbow without rain. There is still beauty in all of the things that wanted to die. So yes, the black boy still kills himself in this poem. He lets it all hang on stage. I stand in front of crowds and have my soul judged by people that aren't God every single goddamn day. I'm built to last longer from fighting all this trauma. Whatever doesn't kill me makes my pen game stronger. I'd rather offer myself than be offering myself. I write love letters to death, which is to say I love myself, even if I haven't said it back yet. Ask me if I have anyone to talk to, like a crowd isn't sitting right here with me. My poem about my dead grandmother sucks the oxygen out of a room, also she can breathe with me right here on stage, even if only for 3 minutes and 10 seconds more. I fight anxiety with my artistry. My best friends, my slam team. Depression was legitimately the best thing that ever happened to me. But for all the young artists, for all the young stars who are not as fortunate as us, to all the little Beyoncés that Kurt Cobained their constellations into obsidian, that collapsed in on their self-worth like black holes before we could see their light. I hope roses bloom from your caskets. I hope your sisters sing and dance to all of your unwritten music throughout the household. I hope your mother hangs your most beautiful paintings in art museums for everyone to find, because your art is the only thing that suicide will never be able to take away from us. We will always remember what made me speak, as long as I am still breathing.
Mr. Grim Jackson. Mr. Grim Jackson.
Don't forget, donate to that GoFundMe.
GoFundMe.
10, 20, 15, whatever you got.
We're going to post that to our Artist Exchange page after the show, so definitely stay tuned. We'll be back here next Friday, here live on the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Coming up next at 5 p.m., it is the Charm City Direct with E. Digger and all his crazy posse of co-hosts, so definitely stay tuned for that. Again, thank you, Do More. Thank you, Chin-Yer. Thank you, Lady. Thank you, Lady. Kenneth and Grim, thank you all. Shout out to...
I didn't even get my whole name because y'all want to stay on
Lady Brion. Lady Brion. Yeah, We respect you, Lady Brion.
So much so that we,
So we'll be back
named
next
ourselves
week.
after you.
Goodbye. Good afternoon. Enjoy your weekend.
Hey, there's my son. You've been in your room all morning.
Hey, Dad.
Matt, what's wrong with your voice?
There is nothing wrong with my voice.
Oh, well, it's just sort of.
I am